to have you back for the second half of Nite Line tonight. And tonight we are doing a program about First Responders Appreciation. And so I'm glad that you joined us tonight. I tell you, it's a real eye-opener. I hope it's a real eye-opener to people that are watching tonight of the reality of what we're facing. With officers, I think a gentleman said earlier, it was 70-something officers that have been killed in the line of duty so far this year. And, you know, we need your prayers. And we definitely need, when you see a police officer, when you see a first responder, as a fireman, police officer, EMS, a trooper, or whoever you may see, I want you to go up to that guy and I want you to tell him how much you appreciate him. You know, that means a lot. That when I'm out, that somebody comes and say, I really appreciate what you are doing. Because I believe that 99.9% of police officers are good guys. And if there are some bad, we need to deal with those. So we don't say there are not any bad, but we need to deal with the ones that are bad. But let's get back to you. We was talking about Marcus, and I ask you, how do you deal with that? Because that has to be, you know, I can imagine having someone to take your son from you. That hate, that overwhelming just hate could consume you. But how does the love of God, how does that fill you? And you don't allow that hate to consume you when something tragic like that happens?
Well, early on, my wife and I, which, you know, our faith obviously helps us through it, helped us through the whole thing. But we determined early on that Marcus was a fun-loving guy. He loved life, and he would not want us to destroy our lives by being bitter and having it affect us. And I have that assurance that I know that Marcus is in heaven, because Marcus and I were saved on November of 1984. We were saved at the same time, the same service at church. So I have that confident assurance that I'll see him again one day in heaven. Mm-hmm. But it's still tough. It's not easy. Yeah. We also are members of what's called COPS, Concerns of Police Survivors. Mm-hmm. Has a South Carolina chapter and a national chapter. So we have gone to seminars there and had counseling there and met with other parents. We meet with other parents. We met with 200 parents throughout the United States last year that had lost a son or daughter in the line of duty. And so through that, you learn to cope with it. Mm-hmm. You don't ever just get over it. You just learn to deal with it and cope with it. Yeah. Through those things.
And some of the great things that you're doing, and we're going to get back there. Right now, we're going to go to the Taylor family, and they're going to be singing a song called Be Ready.
Hallelujah. We got to be ready for Jesus come. Hallelujah. Are you ready? Or will you be ready before Jesus here? Let me sing. Go something like this. Jesus is coming.
We'll be ready.
Jesus is coming, y'all.
We'll be ready.
Jesus is coming, y'all.
We'll be ready.
Will you be ready? Let me say it again. Jesus is coming.
We'll be ready.
Jesus is coming, y'all.
We'll be ready.
Jesus is coming, y'all.
We'll be ready.
Will you be ready?
We'll be ready.
Let me talk to him. Said he was coming, but he didn't say when. Said he was coming. You be ready, my friends. No man knows the day nor the hour when he shall appear. I want to be in a number. Jesus is coming, y'all.
We'll be ready.
Jesus is coming, y'all.
We'll be ready.
Jesus is coming, y'all.
We'll be ready.
Will be ready. Let me see it one more time. Said he was coming, but he didn't say when. Said he was coming. You be ready, my friends. No man knows the day nor the hour when he shall appear. I want to be in the number. Jesus is coming. Good God Almighty. God Almighty. Good 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 God Almighty. There's only one way that you can be ready. There's only one way that we can get ready by confessing our sin and give it to Jesus, and He will save you right where you are. You don't have to be in a special place. You can be right where you are, and Jesus will save you. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Can you give Him a praise? A high praise. Can you give Him a high praise? Good God Almighty. You got to give Him all the praise and all the glory. Got to go to Jesus. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Y'all take me on home.
Be ready. The Taylor family saying you got to be ready. That's true. You got to be ready. And so you guys can reach them. Their number should be up on the screen, and you can reach them if you want them to come to your event or whatever that you have. I'm sure they'd be more than glad to accommodate you. So tonight we're talking about First Responders Appreciation Program, and there's going to be a Special Responders Day that's going to be coming up. If you guys, can y'all put that back on the screen, that day that they're coming up for us? It's going to be in September. If y'all can put that, if you can put that on there for people, it's going to be at the county, going to be at the LSC. It's going to be First Responders Appreciation Saturday, September the 17th from 9 to 5 p.m. at the Greenville County Square. So that's what we're talking about tonight. And tonight we just want to let everybody know that we really appreciate our first responders and what they're doing. Now, we was talking about Marcus, and you said you just kind of lit up. We always get ready to go to a break. We're coming back, but you kind of lit up because you said there were some things that had happened at a camp that you guys do with Marcus. So tell me about that.
Well, at the youth camp this year, the main speaker, we have an awards night on Thursday night. The main speaker was in the Criminal Justice Academy, and he came back to speak to the group that night. And this person had met Marcus in 1999, the year he was killed, and he later came to the youth camp. And now he's a police officer with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. And so we're supplying through the youth camp. They're getting the bug there because they enjoy being around these officers so much. They're connecting with them. They're also being what they have an ambassadors program through the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. So they're getting into the ambassadors program. We know of at least 3 have a desire to or want to become a police officer in the future in
That's
their lives
great.
because of the youth camp.
That is great. Let's get a clap on that one, y'all. Come on, hit that clap button for me. Gotta get a clap button? Where's my clap button? I tell you what, that is good news because you turned a very negative situation into a positive situation. And you could have chose to be bitter and angry about that. And even as we was talking before the show, you said this guy just got released.
Absolutely.
You know, just got released, but you know, I believe that God can use him, God can touch him, that God can use him, and it's just a testimony for you to walk and to walk in the way that you're walking, you and your wife, and to keep his memory a positive memory of Marcus, and that's just a testimony to who God is in your life.
Absolutely.
You know. Now I want you to tell us a little bit about. You got a program called Community Coats. What is this program? What is this program that you have?
Community Coats and Cops is something that we started last year, was our inaugural year, and it was through the Riley Institute of Diversity Leaders Initiative through Furman University.
Right.
We had members from the Sheriff's Office who were in that program, and they were tasked with coming up with a program to really engage us with the community. And so what they came up with was this program in which it's collaboration with Furman University, Michelin, North America was involved in it, Salvation Army, Greenville Hospital System, Greenville Chamber of Commerce. From this year, we're doing it again for second year. So from November the 1st through November the 20th, we, along with the Salvation Army, are going to start accepting new coats, youth all the way up through adults. New coats and these coats will then be distributed to deputies. They'll end up in their patrol cars, and while they're on our routine patrols, we find someone who is in need of one of these jackets. And again, they're warm winter coats is what we're going to be taking. We find someone who's in need of these jackets, we're going to start distributing them out to the community. It's really a way to get us engaged in a positive light.
Right. And one of the things I tell my officers is it's important that we have that open communication. Don't wait till you respond to a call. You know, we need to be actively talking to people out here and open and having that dialogue and those kind of things. And you know, and that's one of the things too, is meeting a need.
Sure.
That if you can meet a simple need, it may be a simplistic need that you can meet.
Sure.
You know, and those kind of things. So now let me ask you, in your law enforcement career, how has things changed since you've gotten into law enforcement? How have they changed up to what we're looking at the climate now?
Sure. Well, I mean, you see it's ups and downs, you know, and really, I know there's a lot of media outlets out there that really shed a negative light on us because of maybe one mistake, all right? But what we've really seen as an agency, and I think law enforcement in general, is a large outpouring of support from the community. Every day we're getting in cards, we're getting in emails, we're getting kids and groups coming in just saying, hey, we're praying for you, we're supporting you, and really understanding that, look, we are out here for the better need of people. We are out here helping people. And like you said, yeah, there's going to be a bad apple here and there. But law enforcement as a whole, we are there for the good of all people.
Right. And that's the thing. We've received some overwhelming support to come in and have flowers in there, or somebody's, you know, brought a dish or something by, or apples or whatever, you know, and bringing it by. Or some people just come by just to say hello and that kind of thing, that we're praying for you and those kind of things. And it's important. And I can't say it enough, but it's important tomorrow that if you come across any law enforcement people, is that you spend some time and is telling them how much you appreciate them. I think it's very important that they hear that from you. You know, not too long ago, my brother was saying he was here in Greenville, and he saw an officer in the parking lot, and he said he rolled up to the officer, you know, and got out the car and went over to the guy, and he told him, he said, I just really appreciate what you're doing. And he said, that officer said, I was sitting here praying, hoping that somebody would come by. Because people don't understand, we're not Superman. Yeah. You know, or we're not Superwoman. That we are human beings, that we have emotions. Right. That we feel pain, that we feel anguish, and some of the things that we see, you know, how it affects us sometimes. You know, some people think that we don't have feelings, but we have feelings. I mean, when you see somebody that's lifeless, that's committed suicide, or you see somebody's been sexually assaulted, or you see some elderly person that's been beaten by someone, that affects us. And so people have to understand that we're human, and that we need encouragement just like everybody else. Sure. These officers need encouragement. Right. So, you know, my prayer is that you would be an encourager to these officers out here on a consistent basis, and, you know, those kind of things. So let me ask you this, because everybody's talking about ambushing and different things like that. And so how do you prepare for that?
Well, you can't prepare for it per se. You know, when you sign up for the job, you understand that there are dangers out there. And it's one of those things where when we're starting to see an increase of officer deaths as a result of murder, you become more vigilant, you become more aware of your surroundings, and that's something that's constantly preached in our roll calls and our trainings. We're engaging in active shooter simulation trainings. We're engaging in real-life scenario-based trainings in which our deputies have simunition rounds so we can see this is a shoot, no shoot type situation where it's more realistic, more real life based scenarios, and it really engages us. And I believe it over time it has evolved us into better officers.
Right, but it's like you're saying, we have to be vigilant.
Sure.
We have to be very aware, but it's really not a lot you can do. If somebody want to get you, they're gonna get you. It's really not a lot you can do. But you know what I believe is we just need to be prayed up, and we need to have people praying for our first responders, because now even with the firemen, I'm gonna have some firemen on in a little while. We know in some situations where firemen were going to put out a fire and was getting sniped on. You know, now they're wearing bulletproof vests. We know from EMS standpoint that I believe probably up in Greenville they might have been issued some bulletproof vests, if I'm not mistaken. But we know nowadays is that nothing is sacred. When you start talking about terrorism, and when we talk about the evil that's in the world, that nobody is hands off anymore when it comes to first responders, and that's a shame that we've gotten to that place. But like I say, we do need people's prayers and we need people's support. So tonight is just a part of that appreciation thing that we're doing tonight. But I also want you to remember that event that's coming up. That we need people to really go out and really support these officers, and not just that, wherever you are in your daily travel, when you see that officer, if they would just give them a word of encouragement, because you don't know what this guy's going through. You don't know what this guy's going through. So let me ask you this: what would be something that you would tell a young officer as you know your son, he was full of life and had a career ahead of him? What would you tell a young officer? I want you to look in the camera. I don't know if maybe this camera right here, and I want you to tell those officers that are watching tonight and the ones that are going to be watching in the morning, because this is going to replay, give them some wisdom.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say that I appreciate them, I love them, I pray for them. And each and every day on your duty, just serve the community with your heart, engage with the people that you're around, and don't have a fear of it, because God's going to take care of you, and He always will. I know He will. And so I just encourage you to be positive in the community and to enjoy your responsibility of what you're doing.
I think that was great. That was great, and I hope that we are not just ministering to the other people, but I hope we are ministering to first responders right now. I hope that we've said something. You guys have said something to encourage them, because it's a very powerful testimony that you've given us tonight, how you've taken a bad situation and you've glorifying God through that situation, and you're actually increasing the awareness of you getting guys that want to be cops because of the life that your son led. And we just really salute you for that. And we want to continue to pray for you in your endeavors and with the sheriff's office and those kind of things. So tell me, what do you guys got planned? Anything you guys got planned coming up? I know you got the coach program. What other programs do you have?
That's right. We got the Marcus Whitfield camp, and of course the sheriff's office is real big on the Special Olympics. We have a bike run coming up from Caesar's Head all the way to the coast. We actually just put the flyer out on our Facebook page where we're raising money for the Special Olympics. So we're very involved in
So what's
in
your
that as
Facebook?
well.
How can people get the Facebook page? What do they do on how do you go to your Facebook page?
It's Greenville County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. You just Google that and it'll take you right to the link.
Okay. And so you're doing a bike run?
We do a bike run. We're doing the community codes for cops, and then of course we're doing the golf tournament coming up that's going to be benefiting the Marcus Whitfield Youth Camp.
So now I want you to look into a camera, and I guess that camera right there, and I want you to tell people just take some young guys that want to be cops. Because you was a young guy one day, and you wanted to be a police officer, a professional police officer. So what I want you to do is I want you to speak to those guys in this camera right here, and I want you to tell them, you know, give them how do you get to that point?
Sure. Well, I think what attracts a lot of people to the job is going to be the natural interest and excitement of the job, driving fast cars, you know, putting people in jail. But there's a lot more to it than that. You really have to have a high level of resiliency. You have to be able to understand that people aren't going to change right away, that you have to stick with people. You really have to plug into their lives, especially the youth, and you have to want to make a difference in the lives of these kids and in the lives of the youth whenever they're at that turning point where they can make either a good decision or a bad decision. And really, like I said, it's a calling, and you have to have that will to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. Because one of the biggest things I found out, it's not about me. It's about the community. You know, and that's what these young guys, you need to understand if you want to be involved in law enforcement. It's not about you. It's about serving and protecting the community.
Yes, sir.
But thank you guys for coming on. And I
you.
tell you, it was great to have you guys. And I believe that we probably connected and touched some lives tonight, you know. And it's going to be airing in the morning, too. So pick up the phone and call somebody and call some of your friends. All right, we're going to go to the Taylor family, and they're going to sing I Don't Know What I Would Do Without Jesus.
I don't know what I would do without Jesus in my life. Through many trials and tribulations, we know we can lean on Jesus. See, I don't know what I would do, Lord, what I would do without the Lord. See, I don't know what I would do, Lord, what I would do without the Lord. He's been my shelter in the time of the storm.
All right, thank you for joining us back. And I don't know what I would do without the Lord. I tell you, that is I tell you, I don't know what I'd do. That was so true. And that was the Taylor family. I tell you, we got calls coming in, prayers for healing and different things that are coming in, and some testimonies. So you got prayer counselors here. You can get on the phone. You can call right now, and they'll be here. I mean, there's all kind of needs here, but we know God is a big God, and he can meet those needs. Amen. He can definitely do that. Well, I tell you what, now we've had some police officers, law enforcement. We've got some firemen here. We got Adam DeVore, that's right, DeVore, and Brent McDonald. Welcome tonight. And so tonight we're talking about first responders, appreciation for first responders, and you guys, we just gonna flow. Don't get nervous and nothing. This guy, he said, we're gonna talk about this. I said, I got you, brother, I got you. I got you. And so we're just going to flow tonight because we're all are in this together. When law enforcement, firemen, we're all in this together. And these are critical times that we live in, very, very critical times. And so with that being said, I just want to ask you guys, and either one of you can just decide to answer this, is with the effect of terrorism and different things like that, how has that changed how you do business now, how you fight fires and how you run calls and different things?
On the terrorism side, we have a lot of equipment in place to protect the public. Forest detection equipment, a lot of training. The state and federal government has a lot of stuff in place to provide us training and funding to make it possible. Because unfortunately, it is a realistic chance of a bio or chemical terrorist. And if that ever happened, Greenville County is fortunate enough to have a Type 1 hazmat team to be able to respond to it. A lot of specialized equipment to be able to analyze the chemical. And then also working directly with SLED, Greenville County Bomb Team. So we all work together on ERT, Emergency Response Team for Greenville County, along with National Guard and the FBI. So there's a lot of good resources.
There's a lot of different,
yes,
a
sir.
lot of different entities there at play. Because I know I'm going to get downwind, right? I don't want to be upwind. I want to be downwind. I'm going to let you guys go in. If you got some chemical or something, I'm down. I ain't going to be which way the wind blowing. I'm going to be
That's correct.
downwind, right?
That's right.
And then let you guys go in there and do that. I know my place in law enforcement. I'm going to get the perimeter, like 50 miles away perimeter, and hold the perimeter down while you guys go do what you do. But how did you guys, when Amtrak's, did you guys respond to any calls like that in Greenville when that powder substance or whatever? How did you guys handle that kind of stuff?
During the big anthrax scare, a lot of it was right after 9/11, was before I come on. Now, we still have a lot of suspicious packages, white powder scares, and when that happens, there's a lot of protocol we have to follow. And we take every one of them seriously. We go in and, again, with that specialized equipment, we're able to see what it is. A lot of times it's just a powder, or sugar or something. I'm not 100% sure if they've had a confirmed case.
Right, but you do have calls, though. I mean,
correct. Yeah. Still at this time, people send a letter in the mail that have a powder in it, and then we'll have to come out.
Right. And the dangerousness involved, and I grew up watching, and you guys are young, but I grew up watching Emergency. That was a show that came on. And then now it's still on one of these old channels that show up. It was a show called Emergency. Right. And these guys were paramedics and they were firemen and stuff like that, and they would help kids or somebody had a car accident and that kind of thing. But you never would think that firemen would somebody be taking shots at firemen. Right. That were trying to put out fires, and how has that changed y'all's training with that recently, and with those kind of things happening with the different types of things, rioting and things where the firemen go in to put the fire out, and then you got people taking shots at you. So how has that changed your training?
Mostly it's just us, like they said earlier, being vigilant about, recognizing signs and different things that could be indicators of a bad situation. A lot of times what we're trying to do is wait for law enforcement to come in and kind of clean up the situation. But there has been more and more cases coming about where, firefighters have been the target of violence. For years we'd go on a medical run and never expect that something violent was about to happen. We're here to help, and then you end up being the target. So a lot of it is just staying vigilant and trying to keep law enforcement involved. They run on a lot of same runs that we do as far as medicals or any fires or anything like that, car wrecks and stuff like that. So we usually have them kind of watching our back. But yeah, you can't really prepare. We can prepare a little bit, leading up to those kind of runs. But
Yeah, because what was that? They held the firemen hostage. Was that?
I think it was in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean
Somewhere in Georgia.
Yeah, somewhere in Georgia. They went to the house and they ended up being hostages.
Right. Yeah. And we're starting to see that more and more now, in the recent years. So it's kind of one of those things that fire departments around the country have had to evolve into trying to, combat that and protect ourselves.
Yeah, and it's a shame, isn't it? We've got to that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what as far as firemen and being first responders, what are you looking for when a guy comes and says that he wants to fight fires? Because that becomes more complex. It's not just grabbing a hose and putting water on a fire. What is it like? Because I know it's more complex now than just that.
Right. We fire department's kind of just like an old name that we've kept around for a long time. We're really more of like an all hazards, all risks type department. We cover a lot of medical runs, hazardous materials, like Adam was saying, car wrecks, fires. We're kind of like jack of all trades in a sense. But more and more now, a larger percentage of our runs and our call volume is medical in nature. The fires still happen, but they're a lot less frequent. So anybody who's looking to become a fireman needs to take that into account. It's not just running into buildings.
So you got to become a paramedic?
EMT,
EMT
typically is like a base level train, or first responder, and then there's EMT and on up to paramedic.
Right.
So.
And so you got to be very use a lot of different. In other words, it's not just putting water on fire.
Absolutely correct
Anymore. And then what about with the interstate? How much and I know we had these books. You get these books that tells you about how to read a truck that it's got certain chemicals in there. But how much dangerous stuff actually comes through Greenville? Come through the interstate?
According to the Greenville County Emergency Operations Plan, because of our network of transportation, highways, railroads, and airports, we actually rank #1 in vulnerability of the state for vehicle accidents. But there's all kind of chemicals every day coming up and down the road. But with that being said, they're covered under DOT guidelines, and a lot of your dangerous chemicals, they are well protected. So there is a chance, but for the most part, their containers they're in are very safe.
Right. But the thing that gets me, I guess, is that, from somebody on the outside watching the firemen, you put water on everything. But there are chemicals, if you put water on, what's going to happen?
Correct. That you have a chemical reaction. So there's some stuff we respond to, we wouldn't be able to put water on it. So we're going to evacuate, assess what it is, but have to make sure we're able to recognize it. And that's where the training comes in, continued education all the time.
So you guys have to be constantly being vigilant and being trained on a consistent basis.
Correct.
Well, we talk about first responders appreciation, which covers a lot of emergency responses. How many firemen have lost their lives?
To date this year, in 2016, 51 have been line of duty deaths. For the most part, though, a large percentage, over 50%, is usually related to cardiac arrest, is usually the cause. And then another percentage, about 25%, is traumatic injuries and vehicle accidents. Driving the trucks to the emergency is one of the most dangerous parts of it. But very, very rarely on average are firefighters killed by smoke and fire and burns and things like that.
But it's the getting to the place.
It's getting to there, and then just the inherent stress that the job kind of puts on you. The alarm goes off in the middle of the night, you snap awake, and
don't you guys do physical exercising and stuff as a
absolutely
daily thing and still, because how much when you put the suit and all, how much does that weigh? How much extra weight is that?
Fully geared out, 60, 80 pounds.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
How much?
60 to 80 pounds, depending on
60 to
what
80
exactly
pounds?
you're wearing. Yeah. So that turnout gear is heavy.
Yeah,
Air packs are
well,
heavy.
that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight. And yeah, that's a lot of weight, man.
And then it's 100 degrees outside.
And 100
you know.
degrees, and plus it's hot, and you're
Right.
fighting fires, and it's hot.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things. And so you have to be very well conditioned.
Absolutely. And we go, every new hire goes through a physical agility test. We hold a pretty high standard on that. And then our department, you know, keeps up with our health and safety every year. We do full physical screenings and make sure everybody's in the best shape they can be.
Man, that's something, isn't it?
Hell yeah.
That is something. So how many calls y'all average a day? Now y'all in different. What do you have? You have precincts or what? How does that set up? The
Just
fire district.
Districts, yeah. We have here in the city. We have 6 fire stations. So
And
we split it up
where
into
you guys at?
Greenville City.
What area?
Yeah, Stone Avenue Fire Station. And
Pleasantburg Fire Station, so Lawrence Road area.
Okay. Where's that one at on Lawrence Road?
It's behind Kevin Works Chevrolet.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
So right now it covers about the whole east side is First U. Our new station's going up on Verde.
So what kind of calls? What kind of? Tell me how many calls you have a day. Do you know?
It ranges. It can be anywhere. The whole city itself, you know, little as probably 10 to, you know, the high 20s. It all varies. I think we run around 6,000 calls a year.
Because you guys get called for automobile. Sometimes you first responders for automobile accidents,
Right.
or to a home for a situation, or power line down. You know, what other kind of calls you do?
fires, obviously, majority of our runs are probably medical in nature. So we first respond to those and kind of help try to stabilize patients in the very first part of an emergency until EMS can arrive.
Well, how critical is it that people have fire alarms? I know that's kind of, but you would think that most people would have a smoke, I say smoke alarm, but what's the percentage of that, of people that really?
As far as percentage, I wouldn't know a number on that, but we definitely try to make sure that the residents of the city are equipped with smoke detectors.
Do y'all give them away if they don't?
We will come out and install them for free.
Install them for free?
As long as somebody calls up and requests that, we come out and if you live inside the city, we will install smoke detectors.
And I'm sure out in the county, you got Wade Hampton Fire Department.
Right, there's other departments that
Parker
do
Fire.
similar.
They probably do some things similar
Right.
to that
Correct.
and everything. Well, tell me this: what are some of the things that you guys deal with on a consistent basis that are those hairy situations, so to speak? I mean, what are some calls like? Tell me about that. You know.
Well, sadly, about everything involved is tragic for
But how
the
you gonna
person
go into a
involved.
burn? I want to know how you gonna go into a burning house.
Training and confidence.
I'm serious. The house is on fire, and you guys are going in the house.
We train with each other, and we're going to take a risk assessment when we get to the house, and risk a lot more if someone's in there. And it's something I think you had to prepare yourself before you do
Smoke's
get there.
coming out the house, and the house is on fire. And I've been to fire calls, getting the fire calls to do traffic or whatever.
Right.
And you guys are running into a house that's on fire and smoke's coming out, and you running in the house, and everybody is running out of the house.
Right. Well, some of that's adrenaline too. You get there and that's what you're trained to do, and there's always a chance of saving somebody, and that's kind of the motivator to get in there.
Yeah, but and it goes back to what we talk about in everything of our responses there. It's a call, isn't it? I believe it has to be a call. I ain't running no house on fire. But see, y'all be running the house. If the dog is if little poo-poo the dog's in there, or you guys are going in there to save lives or whatever, and it has to be a call for a man to do that.
It is a calling. Just like most of us say we wouldn't tote a gun around and try to arrest people. We're like, hey, no, that's crazy.
And we're running to the gunfight, right?
Right,
That's right.
yeah. So
That's
it's
exactly right.
We're running
different
to the
strokes,
gunfight.
so.
All right, hold on a minute. We got the Taylor family, and they're gonna sing a song called "Keep Praying."
I want to encourage everyone to keep praying. Hallelujah. Give God the praise and the glory. to say. Until your breakthrough comes, you gotta keep praying. Until your breakthrough comes, you gotta keep praying. Until your breakthrough comes, you gotta keep praying. I know the Lord will work it out if you just keep praying. Oh yeah. I got one more thing I want to say. Until your healing comes, you gotta keep praying. Until your healing comes, you gotta keep praying. Until your healing comes, you gotta keep praying. I know the Lord will work it out if you just keep praying. Oh yeah. Now, family, I want y'all to do something for me. Are you ready? Everybody clap those hands. A little bit louder. One more time. One more time. Yeah, until your answer comes, you gotta keep praying. Until your answer comes, you gotta keep praying. Until your answer comes, you gotta keep praying. I know the Lord will work it out. Stay right there. We'll work it out. God will 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 work it out. If you got a problem, work it out. Take it to Jesus. Work it out. And He will. Work it out. God will. Work it out. God will. Work it out. That sickness you're going through. Work it out. God will. Work it out. God will. Work it out. God will. Work it out. Work it out. Work it out. God will. Work it out. Work it out. Work it out. God will. Work it out. Work it out. You can't pray enough. But He will. Work it out. Good God Almighty. Keep on praying. Keep on praying. And He will deliver right on time. God will. God will. Take me on home. Hallelujah. Yeah.
God will work it out, the Taylor family. Listen, you can give them a call, and I guess they would love to be available to your programs and those kind of things. So now we're going to talk back to my good friends here, our firefighters here. You were talking about a fire academy. Tell me about a volunteer. We was talking about volunteers, but how can people get involved in the fire academy?
Right, and with the city fire department, we don't have volunteers. We're an all-paid career department. However, we do have what we call a Citizens Fire Academy, and anybody that wants to go, we have a max number of people, but over the course of, I think, about 6 or 8 weeks, they will learn what it takes to be a firefighter and go through our Citizens Fire Academy. I believe it's 1 night a week, and get to learn everything from putting on the gear, some extrication equipment, to even putting water on fires and doing everything that we do.
And we're also hoping to get our Explorer program back started. It's actually through the Boy Scouts of America. Anyone 14 to 21, give them a route into the fire service. And since we don't have volunteers in the city, now a lot of your surrounding counties, a lot of departments in the county has volunteers, and there is a dire need for more volunteers.
Because now I know where the municipality of Williamston, we have the Career Center, the Technology Center. They actually have a firefighters program.
Correct.
Where they actually get these guys certified or something like
Correct.
that?
So they'll come out of high school already having certifications to help them get into the field of the fire service. I want to say one of the Greenville County career centers has started it because there's a nationwide there's a
shortage.
So I'm trying to do stuff to encourage and help them out, help the teenagers out, and I'll give them the education they need.
And I know from a law enforcement perspective, the pay is not great for what we do. Is that pretty much fire too, where you know that you're called to do it because there's not really a lot of money in fighting fires?
I mean, you're not going to get rich doing this job by any means, but
Well, y'all got more than one job, because every fireman I know got more than one job.
I currently don't.
You currently don't. You one of the few. I've never met a fireman. Do you got another job?
Yes, sir.
See, that's what I'm saying. Every fireman I
three
know, they got
sometimes,
every fireman I know, they got more than one job. You must be doing something right.
No, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, you're not going to get
You
rich.
still living at home, right? He's still living at
my
home, mom and
home, yeah.
daddy. He's still living at home, mom and daddy, right? That's probably what it is.
I don't want to rat them out, but
Yeah,
He's still living at home, mom and daddy.
it's a blessing, and it is a good job.
Yeah.
We're paid well with the city, and we're comfortable, and you don't need everything. So
Right. You see, you say pay well. I'm gonna see. He'll have some stripes or something on it. Boss, look at this. Look at this. Look at this video here.
yeah.
I gave a plug.
maybe sadly mistaken.
Well, listen. What all you guys do, we really appreciate all that you guys do, and I will tell anyone today as you go on your way, and I've been talking about law enforcement and any first responders, whether they're EMTs, paramedics, troopers, or whatever they may be, that they give their first responders that they're there when you need them. Even the fire guys, I think it's important that you guys, people tell you that you do a good job, because I think it's important. I think that we all have that need to know, that desire to want to know that people appreciate us in what we do, because I believe most of us do believe it's a calling.
Right.
Some of the training, for example, I've seen some of the training that you guys do, but there was a situation where the guys went to a fire and they was out there and it went some kind of chemical place, and boom, there was a big explosion, and there was a lot of firemen killed that day. And those guys was just out doing what they were doing. It was somewhere in the Midwest or something, and I know you guys have went and seen those scenarios and find out what went wrong and all those kind of things. But I think we all know that at any point in time that we can be gone.
Correct.
And that, as well as law enforcement give their lives up, I believe that you guys as well, when you're running into that house, that burning house, it's not a guarantee you're coming out.
Never.
Yeah. Or when you go to that car wreck and some unattentive driver is driving by and hits a fireman or something like that, or when you're on that fire truck trying to get to that emergency and somebody doesn't pay any attention to all the bells and whistles going off and run a red light and hit you guys. Do y'all still ride on the back of those things, or
No.
ride in compartments?
Thank goodness. We're in the cabin of the truck, seatbelted in. So those days are, thank goodness, long gone.
You ain't lying. Not the way things are now with somebody, hitting you and,
Right.
you have nowhere to go and all. So most of the stuff now is, how many guys does that one fire truck carry at one time?
Typically, minimum of 3. We'll have a driver, an officer, and what we call a tailboard. But some departments ride 4. I know volunteer places, if you have enough people, they'll put as many as they can fit on there. But we ride with 3-man minimum.
So how many fire trucks respond to a fire?
Depends on what it is.
Really?
So in
Because I know 3 guys don't fight a
no,
fire.
in
No, sir.
Greenville, if you have a high threat for life, incident at a high-rise building or something like that, you're going to have 2 ladder trucks, 3 engines, a heavy rescue truck, and a chief, right? 2 chiefs off the bat. Then we can call back for more, and then we'll even reach out to the county, and because we are all one. It's
Right.
about
Now, do
saving
y'all,
life.
and too, y'all help other agencies like
Correct.
even out in the county? Some of the agencies out in the county.
Right, we have some neighboring departments that we do mutual aid help with. You know, you tap into other departments' resources if need be.
Right, because we really one big community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
You
exactly
know,
right.
we really you know, we really are from law enforcement to fighting fires to everybody else, EMTs and all. We're just one big community, and you know, I really want to challenge our community to embrace our first responders. I think it's critical, and I can say this again because me being one of the guys is critical for people to understand and to know that these guys are doing this because it's in their hearts to do it. There's not a lot of money. Sometimes it's the dirty work of the dirties because a lot of times I see you in these nice looking uniforms, but a lot of times they don't know the work that you got to do when you're there, and you got to keep everything clean and shining and training, the continuous training. You know, a lot of times I think on television they think you sit in this chair and y'all watch television
Right.
and eat popcorn and
Correct.
cook and eat spaghetti and stuff like that. I think a lot of times what television paints, but it's more to it than that. Like,
Right.
for example, what would be a day like?
Normal day starts off, you know, checking off your equipment, making sure everything's there. You got plenty of stock. We do a lot of station cleaning and maintenance. We typically allow a certain amount of time for physical fitness. We do a certain amount of training every day. And then not to mention, you know, in between that, we may have 2 or 3, 4 runs that interrupt the day. We do a lot of business inspections throughout the community, pre-fire planning, making sure we're familiar with a lot of the buildings that we have. And
So there's a lot of stuff that you do,
Absolutely.
Correct.
and then you go to bed and get woke up in the middle of the night.
Absolutely.
Quite a few times. some
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. Now I know you don't have them poles you slide down anymore, do you?
We still have a few stations
Oh, you
that
still
have
have a
them.
few stations with the poles?
Oh, yeah.
Sure do.
Wow. Wow.
They're a lot less and few and far between now, but they're still out there.
Well, our time is running out, man. Our time. Listen, if they can put that back up about the event, if y'all can put that back up on there about the event, I greatly appreciate that. If they can put that back up, because we really want people to come out to that event. That's the First Responders Appreciation Day, Saturday, September the 17th from 9 to 5 at Greenville County Square. So we want to see you there. We want to see people there at that event, because I know you have fire trucks. There'll be fire trucks there and different things there, and just getting the kids to come out and know those kind of things and all. Well, we got a lot of prayers. Somebody sitting there enjoying the program. It's a good thing tonight. And we're just going to pray for these people tonight. I tell you what, God is so good. He's so awesome. Thank you guys for coming. Father, we just bless them tonight, Lord God. We just thank you that you are a good God and awesome God, Lord. And Father, we thank you that every need will be met in Jesus' name. Thank you.